What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I've been covering the disastrous fallout of the $20 to $25 minimum wage that kind of woke ideologues and woke politicians have said will fix everything for people. We'll just fix everything. We'll just have an enormous minimum wage, and that's just going to fix everything. The companies definitely won't pass the costs on to the consumers. The companies definitely won't automate and just fire everybody. The companies definitely won't see major amounts of business turned down because they've passed the cost on to consumers, and consumers are choosing to not order as much fast food. Oh, wait, all of that happened, and it's only gotten worse as a new report shows that the California minimum wage increase has wiped out thousands of jobs. We talked about this last week, that in Seattle, they had a $20 or $25 an hour minimum wage for gig workers that only resulted in a 30% decrease in orders because, of course, these corporations just passed the cost on to the consumers. The consumers didn't want to pay it, and the ones that didn't want to tip nearly enough to offset it, because that's not how this works. You can't just force this stuff on people and expect corporations to just make less money. It's so stupid and idealistic. By the way, Mother's Day is this weekend. Just want to remind people, my company, Coffee Brand Coffee, puts out the best Mother's Day gift boxes on the planet. We have a pre-made one that includes our toffee brand toffee and almonds, kettle corn, saltwater taffy, and our medium roast coffee. We also have a gift box builder where you can build with K-Cups, or maybe they don't like coffee, you can build with cocoa or just snacks. Promo code MOTHER, save 10%, coffeebrandcoffee.com, easy to remember. Head on over there after watching the video and get yours ordered today. California minimum wage wipes out thousands of jobs. In their incessant efforts at pretending to help the poor, leftist politicians have come back again and again to the minimum wage. Increasing it is supposed to make life better for low-wage workers, and it won't cause any of them to lose their jobs. They point to dubious academic research to prove that it won't. Let's look at the new California minimum wage law for workers in the fast food business and see how it's been working out. Professor Lee Ohanian has done some digging and writes about his findings in this piece for the Independent Institute. He observes that more than 9,500 jobs have already been wiped out, with more expected. Quote, more fast food job losses are coming as a new minimum wage took effect earlier this month. This includes losses at Pizza Hut, Round Table Pizza, and others are in the process of firing nearly 1,300 delivery drivers. El Pollo Loco and Jack in the Box announced that they will be speeding up the use of robotics, including robots that make salsa and cook fried foods. With solid proof that their, quote, compassionate legislation is causing workers to lose their jobs, will any politicians who supported this law call for its repeal? Of course not. Will any say, I'm sorry for having voted this in because it's doing a lot of harm? That's not going to happen. Being a leftist politician means that you never have to say you're wrong. Besides, if they ever admitted to their statist nostrums that they are counterproductive, that might cause voters to doubt their belief in the government power as a solution for every problem. Part of the problem is obviously when you ask the government to fix problems, things go wrong, very wrong. Ohanian also points out the skullduggery of the new law, which doesn't even apply to certain fast food chains owned by a buddy of his. You see, the article from Professor Ohanian says California fast food restaurants cut 9,500 jobs. There's about 17.5 million people working in California, so this law ended 0.05% of the jobs there. Well, that's not true at all. That's total people working. That's not number of people who got a pay bump from the minimum wage. I mean, the people who continue to look, again, I want people to make money. I want people to make more money. I want people to, I want places like McDonald's and Pizza Hut and stuff like that who pay the bare minimum. I would love to see them give more training or offer, some programs so that employees can move up in the company, or so that employees can learn other trades and leave the company one day. You see this, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and other fast food chains are now, of course, raising prices after state raises minimum wage. Fast food chains, on average, have upped their menu prices 10% in California alone following the state's new minimum wage law. Fast food operators rushing to use AI in the wake of minimum wage hikes. I mean, what did people think was going to happen? What did people think was going to happen? That corporations were going to make less money? It's so insane. It didn't take long for Harshraj Ghai to respond to the impact of California's new $20 an hour minimum wage for his 3,700 fast food employees. He and his family operate 180 Burger Kings, Taco Bells, and Popeye's chicken restaurants across the state. And one of the very first things they did after the law took effect on April 1st was to start capping workers' hours to avoid overtime pay. Also, they're closing some of their outlets a little earlier and opening others a little bit later to avoid paying workers for less profitable periods of time. But the biggest thing them and their family are doing does not directly involve workers at all. They've sped up and expanded their use of AI technology. Right now, they moved up by several years their plans to install self-serve kiosks at all locations, including 25 out of the state. So the minimum wage hike in California is now going to cost jobs across the country. What he has most hopeful about offsetting the higher costs of labor is to have AI handle customers' orders made through the drive-thru. He's testing the machine learning system this month at a few locations and hopes to roll it out completely company-wide by this time next year. So all you've done now is just eliminated these jobs. Now, to be fair, if it was going to be, let's say these corporations were paying, I don't know what an average fast food worker makes now, $12 to $14 an hour, maybe. Depends obviously on the state, I suspect. I'm sure that these corporations would have probably tried to replace you anyway. Like, they're always going to look to cut labor costs, and these restaurants are going to be 90% AI and automation in the next 5 years. But drive-thrus, sort of quintessentially California, car culture and fast lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. AI-led drive-thru is not quite ready for prime time. As of today, the system can have trouble with people's accents and ambient noise, making it hard to recognize speech and translate it into text. Pilot programs run by McDonald's and others thus far have backed up AI technologies with employees. Well, here's what's going to happen. I already see it at my local McDonald's. I don't know if they do this at yours, but they're already trying to incentivize ordering through the app, which means that they don't have to have somebody pay to take your order. They say, like, I forget, I don't go to McDonald's very often, despite how chunky I am. But I remember the last time I was there, they had a big sign in the drive-thru that said something like, use the app, save money, or skip the line, use the app. They're just going to force people to use the app. And then you won't need somebody to take the order. You're going to have AI for people that want to give their order, and you're going to have the app for the other people. Then in 10 years, everyone will just use the app because they'll figure it out and it'll be easy to do. I mean, what did these people think? Yet San Diego Labor Union now calling on city to mandate a $25 an hour minimum wage for hotel and other service workers. A proposed ordinance would effectively boost the workers' minimum wage by 50% in a single year. How do we think that's going to work? Have you checked into a hotel lately? Have you tried to find staff at a hotel lately? Good luck. If you stay at like a Holiday Inn Express, there's about 3 people working there. All 24 hours are open. I mean, what do these people think? The only thing I can think is that, like, Democrats are desperate and they're trying to buy people's votes. They don't care that the long-term they're not thinking about the long-term backlash of this. They're not thinking of the the backfire, the way that this could cost jobs. That's for future them to worry about. And then they'll just fire up more government programs to try and get people to, get on that government teat. Employers are cutting hours and hiring less to offset minimum wage raise. Recruiter warns higher pay puts entry-level jobs at risk from robots. Well, no kidding. Is anybody surprised to hear this? Now, of course, I want people to earn a fair living. I worked fast food. I worked at pizza joint. I worked retail for many years of my life, maybe 5 years, I was, worked minimum wage, 5, 6, 7 years, worked minimum wage. I remember what it was like trying to pay for an apartment working at Walmart. I remember specifically that I requested Saturday, Sunday, and night shifts at Walmart because they paid an extra 50 cents or $1 an hour on weekends. I needed to give up my weekends to afford to live in my apartment with a roommate. So I remember, obviously what it was like trying to get by. And I think companies should pay a more fair wage, but that's what the system's supposed to do. You're supposed to have competition. And when the Amazon fulfillment factory by me starts people at fulfillment center starts people at $25, $30 an hour, I have a hard time believing that anybody would work at McDonald's for $10 an hour. You'd have to be an insane maniac to do that. I mean, it's just, eventually that's going to force McDonald's to have to raise their pay. Having government get involved is only going to lead to job cuts, speeding up automation, and all the things that everyone could have seen coming, because these companies aren't going to make less money. That's not what they do. That's not what they've ever done. But the government doesn't care about that. The government will not fix your problems. They've never been able to fix your problems. You might as well, if you make $100 minimum wage, it's not going to fix anything. You're just going to cut out, all these people are going to be unemployed. So what's better? Making $16.50 an hour at In-N-Out Burger, or $0 an hour? I mean, that's what the reality is for a lot of these entry-level workers. But, communists just want to ignore reality. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. And if you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. And we'll talk to you again real soon.